and they had, I don't know what it was called, but it was some sort of a cold water thing, that in the fall you'd store your eggs in this huge crock, fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And all winter long you'd pull the eggs out of the crock and cook them.
Oh, so they wouldn't go bad, they would be staying
they
cold.
would cold, and I guess the water must have sealed them. There must have been, maybe there was something in the water, I don't remember. Never heard of it.
And they weren't frozen.
No. Strange. I've never heard of anybody doing it, but we did it.
Was that like a root cellar where it just kept them cold? Maybe it was just cooked like refrigeration. But
It was, they were cold, but they were in some, I don't know whether it was a brine, but they were in a water type of thing. And it was in a big crock, like a big, huge crock.
How big was the crock? Must have been pretty big.
Oh.
20 gallons, 50 gallons?
I don't know, it must have been about 3-4 feet tall, 1.5 wide.
That's about 50 gallons, I would think, close to it, 30, 40 gallons. So,
Don't forget, I'm just remembering this, and it might have been a small crock, but as a little kid, it might have looked big to me,
right,
you know?
right. So then they went up to Holland Patton. Or actually, what did you do for like playtime as well too? You had chores. I mean, did you do sledding or ice skating?
Oh yeah, we would slide all winter long. I'd take my sled, go out by myself and slide all winter long.
So that was another thing. It was you were by yourself for the most part because of the age difference. and-
Right.
you didn't have any friends nearby that you always played with?
No, there was no kids around. If there was a kid around, he was younger than I was.
You had a hill on both sides of you.
Huh?
You had hills on both sides
Oh
of
yeah, yeah, but we didn't go up the Sherman Hill. That was too steep. We used to go up to the power company, slide all the way down to Hymes's, to the last house on the road. We did that a couple times. That was a night.
And then, what else did you do like in the summertime?
In the summer, I helped Dad. I always was helping Dad.
Yeah, in the garage.
Yeah.
And by that time, that was he was starting to build a camp too, right?
He started building the camp when in the 45, 46, and he
You
bought.
would have been 9.
Yeah, he bought land. He got land up at Hinckley, and he cut down the trees. Oh, what a dirty job that was, skinning them. I'd go to school, and at night after supper, he'd get draw blades. We'd go up and we'd skin those pine trees.
That was a 30, 40 minute drive to there, right?
Yeah, about 25.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd skin the trees out, and we'd come home, and I'd have that black sap all over my hands and try to get that off to go to school the next day. I was a scourgy thing. It'd never come off unless I went out and washed in gasoline.
And so he took those trees from the Hinckley property and brought them up to, how did he get them up to, how did he get them up to Hoffmeister?
I think he had them trucked up. I think he paid somebody to truck them up. I'm not
Instead
sure.
of
I
using
don't
the wood that
remember.
was up there.
Yeah, they
Because he
didn't
had-
have pine trees up there.
So he had better trees.
Yeah.
Oh,
Any of that wood in Hinckley was all pine trees.
still is.
Still is.
So then you went to Holland Patton and you went to school there until you graduated. What was that like?
Yeah, we rotated classes. I mean, every 45 minutes you change classes. My class had 45 kids in it. It was a nice group of kids. We had a good time, but anything that went on at the school I couldn't go to because I lived out of town.
Yeah,
No
but
way of getting there.
they brought you there though, right? You know,
I took a bus to school and I took a bus home. But if there was anything after school, you just didn't go to it.
right. And so the bus, you didn't have any other kids on the bus?
Oh, yeah,
For
but
Trenton Falls or Barnaville?
Not from Trenton Falls. They were all from at least
Barnaville.
6-7
right?
miles away.
No Barnaville people?
Barneville people, yeah, we picked up a few in Barneville. We picked up a few over towards Poland. It's a long bus route,
Mm-hmm. How long that take you?
30 minutes.
Up Route 12 and didn't have the highways.
No,
at
we
that
went
time.
365 most of it.
365. So, when did you graduate?
1953. I just turned 17. I was working at the phone company
In Utica?
in Utica.
Now, where was everybody else at that time? I mean, where, you know, Lilas was,
Lilas and Jimmy were in school.
they were just, like, you didn't teach them or
No.
help take care of them?
No,
or-
as soon as I was 16 and got working papers, I got a job at the phone company.
What'd you make an hour then?
God, I think it was maybe $1.70, $1.80.
I doubt it that much at that time.
The phone company was big paying, and we got tricked. We had to work what they call split shifts. You'd
I
work.
went to work for Kodak, I think it was about $1.75, 54.
Oh, well, I started at 165 a day, but that was a restaurant job.
I don't know.
56.
Maybe I don't know. Or maybe you're telling me that I don't know. I don't remember. When you were 16, you got a paycheck and you just put it in the bank and saved it.
Yeah, sounded like a lot of money for today.
Well, maybe it was. Maybe it isn't what I made.
Maybe that's why you married her.
You married me for my money, did you?
Yeah.
In other words, you'd make about $80 a week or something.
No, because I was working part-time. I was only working after school. I'd work from 4 to maybe
That's what I was making about when I started off at Kodak.
4 maybe to
56.
7 or 8, because Dad would have to come down and pick me up at night.
Oh, you went all the way down to pick you up?
He went down to pick me up and bring me home every night.
Well, that was a haul.
Yeah, it was. I got a ride down with the janitor at the school, because he had a job after school. He'd take me down there and drop me off, and Dad'd come down and pick me up. Sometimes I'd ride home with Fern, because she was working down there.
So where was Emma at the time?
Oh, Emma was long gone.
Was Fern already married at that time?
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
And where was Ted at the time?
He was
Working in Utica.
working in Utica. He'd gotten out of college.
Mm-hmm.
Worked in Utica, working for an advertising agency.
So that's what he went to college for, right? Was
No, he went to college for architect.
architect?
Was he the only one that went to college out of the bunch?
Yep.
Emma
Emma
was-
went to art school in Buffalo. She worked for the Army Air Base in Rome during the war,
And by that time she had
because
met
that was a
Leonard.
big air base. Rome Army
Right.
Air Base was huge.
It's not where she met Leonard, was it?
No, she went to school with Leonard. Leonard's mother was a principal of Helen Patton.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, she was a Phi Beta Kappa,
And she was,
the principal,
and then she moved to Vermont.
and she moved to Vermont.
Oh, okay.
She went in the Army too during the war.
She went in the Army during the war. Leonard was in the war, and his mother was in the war,
They all met
and
in
his
France,
father was in the
the
war.
three of
They all
them.
met in France, in Paris.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, when did you left, you didn't work at the phone company very much, you graduated and then what, you know, did you move somewhere else or?
Yeah, I quit the phone company and got another job because I got tired of working split shifts. So I took a job in the 5 and 10 cent store at Woolworths down in Utica. I had my own apartment, and Dad didn't think that I should be down there alone with my own apartment, so he'd come down there and haul me home.
You didn't have a car or anything like
Didn't have
that?
a car. I didn't need a car. I could walk from my apartment to the job.
Yeah, you
Didn't need a
had
car.
pots and pans or?
I had a furnished apartment.
Uh-huh.
My girlfriend came down and stayed with me for a while.
Who was that?
Leona Paddock. But Dad didn't think at 17 I should be down there alone, called me home. So that's how I came to Rochester. Rusty was out in Rochester.
And he was okay with that?
And he was okay with me coming to Rochester. So Rusty came up, I think it was around Christmas time.
And what was Rusty doing?
He was working at Judge Motors.
Judge Motors?
Yeah. And he had just got himself a new girlfriend. And she invited me to come out and live with her. And then, yeah, so I did.
Who was that? 'Cause that wasn't Valerie.
That was
it?
Valerie.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
Did-
So I came down there, I think I must have got there January 54.
Mm-hmm.
I was working, and
Met me in March.
March of 54, I met your father. And we got married May 15th, May 15th. And June 17th, he joined the Army.
Well,
I was
so you
dragged
married a
into
month
the-
after?
Just about.
Joined it.
Did you have a question for Grandma? You were gonna ask ask her a question?
Yes, but I don't remember.
Well, it was talking about sports and playing, and why don't you ask her?
What was your favorite sport?
My favorite sport?
Yeah.
Kickball. Kickball.
Second favorite sport, actually.
Volleyball. Oh, I loved volleyball. We used to have some good tournaments in school.
Okay. Okay.
And
Wait.
bicycling. I loved to bicycle. I still like to bicycle.
Well, you did well in school,
I did well in school when I studied.
and then you moved to Rochester, and you got married, and
Tell them about how you begged me to marry you.
Oh, God, I was stupid, wasn't I? Yeah.
I remember
I
how
remember.
we got married.
Yeah.
We decided to get married.
Yeah,
How was that?
I'd spent a lot of my money and I was going broke, and I told her, I says, well, I have to go back to sea. And she says, oh, what are you doing that for? Where are we having a good time? And I says, well, geez, I gotta work for a living. She says, well, I'll be damned if I'm going to be the one to talk about getting married.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember. So that planted the seed in my head.
All I can
And then
remember.
it probably wasn't a few days later, I went back and asked her, I said, let's get married.
Oh, I thought we got married so you could get a bigger allotment when you joined
Well,
the army.
Well, originally, we planned to get married. And I planned to go back to sea to save up some more money. Then the army intervened.
Oh, they give you a
So I
draft.
says, well, I can't go back to sea, they're gonna take me into the army. I says, we might as well get married and make the government pay us allotment.
That's romantic.
all right.
Yeah, he hasn't changed much. He's still
Yeah.
chasing the dollar.
And it still happens today in the military.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, so he goes into the army. What do you do? He's in boot camp.
He's in boot camp. He's gone.
Did you stay working for Sibley's?
Yeah, I worked for Sibley's at that time.
What were you
In
selling
the
there?
office.
I wasn't
you
selling, I
went
was
out?
in the office. I was sending out invoices, dunning notices, general
Office work.
Bookkeeping work.
Yeah. And then when he came back, I didn't even recognize him when he got off the airplane. He looked like, no, didn't have any hair in all years.
Yeah. You know, a couple more muscles maybe, or he was still skinny.
He was still skinny, still coming out hating the army. He went in not liking it, and he came out not liking it. But we did find some good people down in New Orleans.
Yeah, I had second thoughts about the army in New Orleans. I was saying, this ain't so bad. I might have made a career out of it. They left me on that fire tug. That didn't last long. Then we sent me up to Newfoundland.
Then you went, and you didn't go.
I know, I came back to Rochester. I had a 53 Chevy convertible. He was in Newfoundland, and Marlene and I had a good time.
Oh, so you
Marlene
went
and
out
I just
partied
ran around
all
with
time.
the convertible, and we went up to camp with it. And
You had a what is it?
53 convertible.
Chevy convertible.
Chevy convertible.
Really?
It was like a tank.
Where'd you just
Right,
bought
use it
that?
thing.
We bought that in New Orleans. We had just bought the car, and he got a notice
Yeah.
that he had to transfer.
Boy, I was mad. So no sooner bought the car, it wasn't a week or two later they said we're going to Newfoundland.
So you got the benefit on that.
Yeah.
So you and Marlene got the taste of
Yeah,
camp.
yeah.
And
His mom would go up with me. Skippy would go up with me. As soon as I got time off, I'd take off to camp.
so a lot of weekends you went up there.
Yeah.
Gramps is
Yeah.
probably already up there on the weekends. And,
Yeah, and Grandma. Your grandma.
And was the kitchen on at that time?
No,
No, so it was just the. Where did you cook? Outside and
no, we had a kitchen in the main camp.
in the main
Mm-hmm.
camp. Where was that located?
Jeez, I don't remember. I don't remember.
Must have been just a sink and a cupboard.
That
and a
was very,
stove.
yeah, I think it was about where the stairs are now.
What's that?
Oh, there was no upstairs?
Oh, there was an upstairs
stairs
where
were
you
changed.
slept.
The stairs were
Yeah, the
changed.
spiral stairs
Yeah,
around the area where the bathroom is. in the
Right.
corner. The bathroom was.
You didn't have a
we didn't,
bathroom.
see,
You
we
had
didn't
an
have a bathroom, we
outhouse.
had outhouses.
There was
Yeah.
a spiral staircase?
Yeah.
But the kitchen was on there when I went up there.
The first time?
Yeah.
I didn't
pretty
think
sure.
it was. I
Yeah.
don't think it was.
Yeah.
Because I remember putting that kitchen on. No, Fern and I made that kitchen. What are you talking about? I remember doing that a long time after we got married. Fern and I helped Dad lay the block for that kitchen.
Well, that's right. I remember him digging a cellar under
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
No. There was
Yeah.
no cellar under it.
Yeah, you made the cellar, but that was
Oh,
after the
oh,
The
kitchen.
kitchen was on there.
Maybe, I don't know.
And the porch wasn't enclosed. That was all open.
Yep. No, that wasn't that on.
Right.
But you still had the apartment is, that might not have been.
They were
built
here
at that
building
time.
the apartment
We were
when we got
building,
married.
yeah.
I remember helping a little bit with that.
Yeah, especially the stairs. They were always working up there. I mean, when Dad was working down in Trenton Falls every weekend, they were at camp working.
So was this in 54 or 55 when you came back from New Orleans?
We came back from New Orleans in
55.
55. We weren't in a long.
February or something like March.
We had to put a heater in the car coming north, because down you didn't have heaters down there. Cars, if you wanted a heater, that used to be an addition.
Those days when they advertised the car, it was like something to brag about. They'd say radio and heater. Or R and